Hi guys. Oh my gosh guys, this is your very last week. Holy cow, you made it. So this is the very last week of school, or very last week of assignments rather, that you'll be getting from me. There are 2 total assignments. One of them I'll get to in just a second, but the second one is extra credit. So your extra credit assignment for me is your end of year class survey. So I really do read every bit of these surveys. I really take into consideration what you guys have to say about this class and about, just the way I do run it or the way I could run it, anything I maybe missed this year that you were hoping for, things you liked, all that jazz. So if you guys would, I strongly encourage you, not only for the extra credit sake, but for my sake, I would really appreciate if you guys do those end of year surveys for me, please. So last week, last assignment. This is an assignment, if you read my little blurb already under the, under the newsfeed. This is an assignment I have literally done. It's kind of like my only little tradition I've upheld as a teacher. I have done this assignment at the end of every school year since I started teaching. And this was actually an assignment that I did for the first time my last semester of college at UCF. In one of my really goofy, cheesy teaching classes, we did this. And I was like, I love this. This is fun. We're going to keep this going. So this last assignment for you is a very short poetry prompt where you are ultimately going to write a creative poem that will end up being about 10 lines long. If you have already read my example, you see that my example is longer than 10. And sometimes to really make this full circle and complete and to be what you want, these will probably end up being at the least 10, but probably more. So 10 is absolutely manageable with this prompt, if not longer. So the prompt that you guys are going to be answering, that you're going to be kind of creatively responding to, is based off of the children's book, If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. If You Give a Mouse a Cookie is a classic children's book tale. It is one of my favorites. It's one of my daughter's favorites. I love it so much. It's so cheesy, cute, and original. And there are actually variants of that story that have now been released by the same author. So for example, we have a really cheesy Christmas themed one that comes with like a really cheesy Christmas cookbook in the back for cookies. So that's fun. And then this one right here is titled If You Give a Moose a Muffin. And you'll see up here in that little left corner, that is the original, mouse and cookie emblem. And I think there are a few more. So I'm saying this to you because unfortunately, as I was prepping for this, I had already taken my copy of If You Give a Mouse a Cookie to the school just before spring break, and I had forgotten that I took it. So unfortunately, I am not going to be able to read to you the original If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, but instead I will read you If You Give a Moose a Muffin, which some might like even more, but it is the same exact concept. So what you're going to notice obviously with this is that the story will come full circle, and so that's exactly what your poetry prompt should do as well. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and read you. Hopefully I can catch the full, I don't know how elementary school teachers are doing this. Hopefully I can catch the full view of the book in this. So this is If You Give a Moose a Muffin. Oops. Usually in class I would read both of these, so I'm sorry I'm only able to read one right now. If you give a moose a muffin, he'll want some jam to go with it. So you'll bring out some of your mother's homemade blackberry jam. Yes? When he's finished eating the muffin, he'll want another and another and another. When they're all gone, he'll ask you to make more. You'll have to go to the store to get some muffin mix. He'll want to go with you. When he opens the door and feels how chilly it is, he'll ask to borrow a sweater. When he puts the sweater on, he'll notice one of the buttons is loose. He'll ask for a needle and thread. He'll start sewing. The button will remind him of the puppets his grandmother used to make. So he'll ask for some old socks. He'll make sock puppets. When they're done, he'll want to put on a puppet show. He'll need some cardboard and paints. Then he'll ask you to help make the scenery. When the scenery is finished, he'll get behind the couch, but his antlers will stick out. So he'll ask for something to cover them up. You'll bring him a sheet from your bed. When he sees the sheet, he'll remember he wants to be a ghost for Halloween. He'll try it on and shout, "Boo!" It'll scare him so much he'll knock over the paints. So he'll use the sheet to clean up the mess. Then he'll ask for some soap to wash it out. He'll probably want to hang the sheet up to dry. He'll go outside to put it on the clothesline. When he's out in the yard, he'll see your mother's blackberry bushes. Are you seeing it, guys? Seeing the blackberries will remind him of her jam. He'll probably ask you for some. And chances are, if you give him the jam, he'll want a muffin to go with it. If you give a moose a muffin. So guys, if you give a mouse a cookie before, you know that the same exact thing happens. It starts with a cookie. It ends up with, like, in the middle, he's drawing pictures. He's doing a million other things. And then at the end, it circles back around to a glass of milk, and then he's going to want a cookie to go with it. So this was the same thing here with the jam and the muffin. So the idea is, guys, that you are going to do your own creative version of these. I have actually done an example for you. You know, in years past, I did one with my students because you guys know my love for all things ice skating. In the past, I had written one for my students that was ice skating themed. But since I had a little extra time on my hands being home, I decided to go ahead and redo another one. So I wrote one that seemed a little more applicable to my life right now with being a mom. So mine is titled, "If You Give a Mom Nap Time." So you should see hopefully how mine kind of goes full circle as well. Maybe not quite as neatly as the children's book itself, but then that shows you that, you know, yours doesn't necessarily have to be perfect either. Just try really hard to make it come full circle. Try to have fun with this. And I also gave you all kinds of creative options on there. So, you know, some of my favorites over the past, I think I had a couple of band students do something with if a band student loses their instrument, or if a band student has sheet music. I had a couple of kids do something with zombies, if you give a zombie a brain. So the sky's the limit, guys. Pick something that's applicable to you. Like I said, being a mom or being an ice skater worked for me. So think of something that applies to you, or you could keep it kind of simple and choose something like a cookie or a muffin that you could relate it to. So that's really, guys, your only last assignment for me is this one poem. You can submit your poem to me via Google Docs, email, or Focus. And then, like I said, the survey itself is extra credit, but you can submit that to me either Google Docs, Focus, or email as well. So guys, those two things, if you're going to do those two things, the extra credit will expire on the 24th. That is Sunday, a week from today, or you get what I mean, this coming Sunday. Just like in the past, where Monday or Sunday at midnight would be your last chance to do things, these two assignments are still due by then. However, we then have Monday, which is Memorial Day, which is a holiday. Nothing will happen that day. Enjoy a day off. Hopefully be nice out. We can all go outside. From there, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday would have normally been your early release exam days. You guys are not going to receive any kind of exam, any kind of final, any kind of anything for those 3 days. Those 3 days are simply going to be makeup days if you still owe me any missing work whatsoever. The only exception is that you will not be able to turn in the extra credit assignment during those 3 days. Extra credit needs to happen over this next week when that window's open, and then that closes. Any other assignment, I will give you the chance to make up points. You will only be receiving partial points, but any other assignment that you might be missing, you can go back and redo, resubmit, and turn in for extra credit or more credit there than the 0 that you might have in the grade book, okay? So what that means is if you have been really on top of your work and you have been 100% on everything on a week-to-week basis, as soon as you turn in your poem and as soon as you potentially do that extra credit survey, if you don't owe me anything else, you are done. So some of you could be looking at your completion for at least my class as early as Monday or Tuesday if you decide to work ahead and work quickly. So my class could truly be one that you just completely check off if you are good to go, and you know you're not missing anything fairly early this week. So I really encourage you to do that, get it over with, and then just happy summer, at least in my class. All right, guys. So if you have any questions at all for me about your grade, any questions at all about kind of this end of year stuff as you might be going to turn things in, whatever the case may be, remember if you are an English student, you do need to turn in my textbook whenever your time is for you to go in and turn in anything that was checked out. You would also, some of you still have a copy of your Lit Circle book. Remember, those were technically books checked out from the Media Center. Anything checked out from the Media Center would need to be turned in on those days that you're being asked to drop off your stuff and potentially pick up stuff from your locker. Creative writing students, obviously you had nothing checked out, at least for my class, but don't forget the same is true for you, that anything checked out via the Media Center, you would need to return. Alrighty? Guys, I've missed you so much. I hate that this is how we're ending our year, but I just really look forward to seeing all of you. Hopefully next school year, come by and say hi to me. Hopefully everything's back to normal then, and I hope you have an amazing and wonderful summer, and I will hopefully see you guys in August. All right? Bye.